Welcome to my diary, beloved. I'm Tatami, and today we are going to talk about my quilts. But first, cheers to you and your bloodline, and cheers to mine as well. We made it through today, beloved. We got here. Today's video is a 5-part conversation. Let's get into it. Part 1. I started a project which I did something new, if you haven't been able to notice. I watercolored the white background. I did tell you one of my friends dropped off some flat sheets because she knows I use them for the background of my quilts. There were so many that I decided to cut one up to use for different projects where I might need it, and I really wanted to try watercolor, but obviously on a quilt watercolor won't work because if somebody washed it, that's the novelty of watercolor, is the water really lifts the color up. So I decided to do something that could be framed, and I was inspired because I went onto something, I found something through like some quilting group or something called the SAQA, the Quilting Association, the Art Quilting Association, the Studio Art Quilting Association, something like that. And they had just a bunch of really cool prompts for like competitions they're having. I'm not going to participate. I'm just not that great at deadlines, and I'm still kind of intimidated by all of those wonderful quilts by people who know what they're doing. So I decided to just, use it as a way to inspire myself for my own work. I found a prompt that was about community and what it means to you. And so I started this one. I watercolored the background first to be kind of a field because I was inspired by this picture of this beautiful sister with a big hat on, and she had like a scarf hanging down her braid. It was just really pretty, and she was dealing cards, and just this idea of her dealing them to somebody else really inspired me. So that's what the sheet is right there in front of her. Her body is going to be kind of hovering over it, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to do bone throwing or playing cards or tarot, or I'm not sure what I'm going to have her be doing, but I'm going to have somebody else over here, and you can kind of see, perhaps, there's like an orange crayon I used to sketch out both of their bodies and overall like what's going on, and then I painted, and then now it's really hard to see. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for this project. I also wanted to do a smaller project because a lot of my friends have been asking for smaller projects. They're just not able to invest in an entire huge hand-stitched quilt, which makes sense. I personally, at this time in my life, could not invest in a hand-stitched twin-sized quilt, even on a payment plan. So I am trying to find other smaller projects to get into, also so that I can finish them and have that sense of accomplishment, because it felt really good when I finished my first quilt last fall, Big Mama's Kitchen, and having everybody encourage me and stuff, and I finished it. But now I'm like, I want to finish other things. I don't want to have only one quilt under my belt. What if I die tomorrow? So anyway, the second project I've been working on is a Kiss Clasp purse. I was just really inspired to make this after I recently saw just something about cigarette purses in the community I hang out with on Facebook. I go on there now. I don't really add anybody anymore. It's just who has been there with me for the last few years. That's just now my community, and we hang out and worry about each other and all that stuff. And somebody had reposted something about the cigarette purse, which really drew me in, because not only because I like to, Sankofa, go back and get it and do the same thing and spread on the tradition and the history and the story of it, but also because my mother-in-law did smoke cigarettes, and one of my only regrets in life, really, is that in her final days in the hospital, she asked us for cigarettes, my husband and I, and we were like, no, we can't give her cigarettes. Like, what if she dies and then we're like guilty because we gave her the cigarettes? And now that I'm older and I understand life a little better, I wish I'd given her that comfort. I do, honestly. And so this is just kind of one of those ways that I connect with that circumstance and accept what I used to not accept, in a sense. So cigarette bags are usually a little thinner than this. This one's about 8 inches. I would say it would probably come around here in terms of size. But I did want to just keep up with the style, and I did want to make something a little smaller. So that's what we have here. This is inspired by the book Mules and Men by Mavazora Neale Hurston. She has a scene in there where she's being initiated in the South, and she has to wade in the water and have 3 candles. I made them red, black, and green because of the diaspora Pan-Africanism, and I just thought that was really appropriate. I gave her some little waist beads, some hoop earrings. I was gonna give her hair, but then I was like, the logistics of hair and a candle didn't, yeah. So anyways, I used some actual fabric paint. So this stuff should stay here theoretically when it's washed, and unlike this, right, which is not gonna stay around. Then we have the, oh wait, I didn't even show you the other side. So I decided to also make the other side of this bag be associated with a book as well, because I just thought it would be a really cool theme for the purse to be 2 books that really inspire people who practice hoodoo, who practice conjure. So, and conjure, you know, it's such a big thing because that was survival. That's what conjure is, you know. It's taking nothing, what you have, literally the dirt in your hand, and making something from it. And it was a tool of survival throughout enslavement, abuse, and all of these other tragedies that our people upheld. And so the mere fact that some of these things even managed to last until today for me to learn them it's just it's heartbreaking that we didn't have more, but the fact that what we have is here is encouraging and inspiring. So that's really what I wanted this bag to symbolize. So for Mavazora, she did end up passing away penniless, unfortunately. However, she did inspire us, like, what, 2 generations after her? We uphold her name. We sing her praises. If this was Coco, she would never have to worry about her ofrenda ever again, because she's kind of been deified and put into that lexicon of ancestors that we hold her right up there with, you know, Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey and everybody else, you know, Harriet Tubman, everybody else that we hold up there. Mavazora's in that lexicon, and it's really amazing that even though those like white folks who originally paid her didn't give her kind of the time of day when she really needed them later on in life, we give her the time of day now. And this is based off of a book called Bones, Shells, and Curios by an amazing individual named Michelle Jackson, who she wrote the book and she does teach the classes. I have taken her class and I really loved it because of just how special it was. So what I did was I went ahead and found like a button and some charms that I could sew on. You know, I made a little bracelet there. And I also tried to make these bones out of some cream fabric with pretty flowers on it. I thought it would be really nice to do. So I hope those do look like bones. And this does look like a bone throwing situation, some divination. And I just thought it was so powerful the way that, you know, she is also passing on that ancient knowledge, but she's somebody here today who we can cherish today and uplift today. And that's kind of why I thought that she would be the perfect fit, because I put this this oil lamp here because that's traditional, that's old school, and I put these 3 leaves here, and then I wasn't really sure where to go for like 2 weeks, and then finally I just had this inspiration to make it a bone throwing situation. So that's what we have here, some divination. It's the little person, so this one would represent the person. He's got a heart at his head, his ancestors at his feet and back. And so this is usually where this would be, you know, what's the most important part of this. I put the dragonfly instead of like a dove or a bird because that's just what I had. And yeah, my only thing is I wish I had a button that had coins, because that would just make it perfect. But when I looked that up, I found like 4 for $12 on Amazon, and I was like, not today, Bezos. You'll have to catch me drunker than that. You will have to catch me drunker than that. So this is the inside, just 2 basic pockets, and I do plan to stuff it and stitch it with, it's not batting, it's stuffing, like what you put inside. A polyester fiber fill is what I have. So we're gonna see how that turns out. That's probably gonna be what I do tonight. Next, part 3. I did tie-dye this amazing twin-sized quilt at my brother-in-law's house with his girl. She bought a whole bunch of amazing items, like, let us just tie-dye them, but I just didn't want to show up empty-handed, especially because I heard she was doing tie-dye. And, like, you know, when people say, I'm gonna feed your kids, I bring food. When people say, we're gonna tie-dye, I've got the stuff, I bring stuff. It's just because I've been there where I didn't, or I've seen situations where people didn't, and they trusted someone else at their word, and then it's like, yeah, you weren't prepared for me. But to their credit, I'm not sure if it was my brother-in-law, I'm not sure if it's his girlfriend, but they had all the snacks a kid could want. I left all my food in the car, like all those weird things I brought to cook just in case. I could leave it in the car, and they also had a whole bunch of things. But I still wanted to, I wanted to tie-dye the background of a quilt and then just quilt on this. So no idea what this is for, but this is my lovely light pink tie-dyed quilt background. Now, what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're finally getting through it. I did give myself some new fabric. You may recognize the bone throwing fabric here, and this was the one I used for the bones. I did promise my daughter I would try to make a lady who used one of these as her flower crown, but other than that, I have no plans for any of this. I got the final payment for my quilt and decided every time I get a payment for my quilt, I just need to invest in a little bit of fabric so I can, because I'm basically just reuse whatever our family clothes are, which gets me so limited. I have to try to be super creative, which I do love, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, sometimes you need fabric, sometimes you need pretty fabric so that you can be inspired and actually make your quilts look the way you want, because no offense to kids' clothes, but sometimes they're kind of ugly and they only work for like things in the background, like putting the leaves in a tree, or making the flames of something, or I don't know. It's never perfect. Okay, the final thing I've been working on is the candles of my quilt. If you recognize these other pieces of the quilt, there's a lot going on with this quilt, but over here to her side is these 9 candles. I sew down all the candles, obviously, but I have to sew the like wax part that's dripping on all of them. So I've got this one done, this one done. This one needs a flame. This one needs, maybe it will just have a flame. Maybe it won't have like hella dripping. I don't know. But yeah, and then I have these 2 little candles in the front here. And this one, I think it turned out really cute. When I was making this one, I actually, before the flames and before these top parts were on, they kind of looked like a city. So I'm actually tempted to also try to make a small like city of like in just like of this size. I'm tempted to make a small city of just buildings and see where that goes. Just try new things. It's really fun. Especially like when I saw the prompts for the one that inspired me for this, it just really got all my wheels turning and stuff. Like I'm not gonna pay to be a part of their guild. I'm not gonna try to like insert myself in something, but it was really cool to see all those different things, because it made me really think about it and think about the different things I could do, you know. I'm really excited. I'm super inspired. I watercolored, I tie-dyed, I sewed. I need to get better at hand stitching, clearly, because I can't sew fast enough for all these ideas that I have. And it was so cool, especially getting those ideas from the prompts or whatever, from the competitions they have, because I used to be able to do that with writing, and I stopped being able to do it. Or I'm not going to say I stopped being able to do it. I just can't do it. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the excuse is, but when I sit down with prompts, it doesn't flow like it did years ago, all the way up until like maybe 6 years ago. And so it's really cool to be able to have something where I do have that spark, and the creativity does flow, and I do feel like I can put it all together and do something with it, whereas, you know, I can't do it with the things I used to. So it's really gratifying to be able to do it with quilting now. All right, that is the quilting update. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I enjoyed myself, and hopefully this quilting diary will it will inspire me later on someday down the line, when I'm hopefully a way better quilter and I have a whole bunch of quilts under my belt. And won't that be amazing? All right, may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I will see you next time.